On June 18, 2007, Ohlone College will celebrate 40 years of educational excellence. Serving Fremont and Newark, the Ohlone Community College District continues to build on its history of excellence and expand to fill the community's desire for a quality education. Even in its earliest days, Ohlone students celebrated the diversity of our society, inviting a wide array of speakers, from New York Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, the first African-American woman elected to Congress, to celebrated pediatrician and author Dr. Benjamin Spock, to actress and political activist Jane Fonda. Most in our community know of the beautiful Fremont campus nestled in the hills overlooking the Bay Area. Many know that expansion has begun in earnest on a Newark campus that will begin serving the community in 2008. But today's growth is firmly rooted in that first seed planted in 1967 when Ohlone College opened its doors at the Sarah Center for Girls.
We're trying to build a city, and what's it take to be a city? Well, Don Edwards talked to us about the idea that what we needed was an educational institution. So we set about, there were about 6 of us that met over at Adele Levine's house and would talk about this stuff with Don Edwards and others.
We were willing to take every Friday night of our life, commit it to talking about where things were and what we needed to do to move things ahead. The news had just come out that they were going to sell Sarah Center. And my next door neighbor, Lila Bringhurst, was very active in the community and called me and said, Adele, I just found out that they're going to sell Sarah Center. I think it would be a really good temporary site for the college. And I called Wes Sears, and it was as a result of that that Sarah Center became the temporary site.
I'm Jim Klent. I was one of the original faculty members on Ohlone College. I was hired in April of 1967, began work the first semester in September of 1967.
I'm Barbara Hendrickson, and I am a professor emeritus of English and Women's Studies from Ohlone College in Fremont, California.
I started working at Ohlone when I was still in high school. I was a senior in high school before Ohlone even opened their classes. And I then started classes after I graduated from high school.
I saw an advertisement from Ohlone. They were just opening up. They were recruiting their new faculty. And I thought, San Francisco area, that sounds like a really nice place to be.
I was the first English professor hired. There were 3 of us that were hired for that first, I think we were on the quarter system then. So basically what we saw when we came there the first day that we went to see the place was a kind of a big quad and these small single-story buildings around it. I think there was A, B, C, and D, and maybe an E, I can't remember now. And we turned it into a college. There were 22 faculty and about 1,500 to 1,600 students.
It was really nice because you really had, I think, received individual attention from the instructors. And also you got to know the students pretty well.
We had a lot of imagination, we had a lot of energy, and we made those kids fall in love with us fairly fast.
It was a wayward girls' school, and it was situated with a great view of Mission Peak. Had a stream running through it, Sabercat Creek. It was really quite a wonderful place to start. Very small town, very homey.
I would suspect that we had come close to doubling before we moved. They brought in a portable for the art department. They brought in a portable for the music department. They also brought in a portable for the theater. And that was Craig Jackson, and the Jackson Theater in the Smith Center is named after him.
Jackson was a student of my husband, and asked my husband to start to teach some classes. And so he was part of the old theater at the Sarah site.
I think the best thing, if anybody who teaches anywhere gets a chance to start a school, there's just nothing like it. It's the most exciting, inspiring, fun kind of experience. I cherish those first 7 years.
When that property was a big apricot orchard, and it was owned by a fellow by the name of Ed Huddleston.
In 74 was the first full year, right, 74, 75 academic year. Yeah. All of us, when we went to the new campus, the two first thoughts were, wow, this is really nice. And the second was, it's no longer as close and homey as it used to be. The first theater before the Smith Center was built, the first theater was the old Building 22, the portable from the Sarah Center, which they dragged up, and this big old wobbly structure with all kinds of wind blowing through it at all times. It's just a terrible, terrible building, but it was all they had, and there were some pretty nice productions that were done there. Gary Smith, the first music instructor, was hired. He had been teaching up in Oakland. He was a professional musician. He played bass clarinet for the Oakland Symphony. He directed the Westminster summer productions up in the hills in Oakland.
When you go into the Smith Center, right in front of you, you will find a welcoming statue. And that is my husband. That statue is my husband playing Tevye.
Probably the most memorable class for me was a tax class that took some years back, and it helped me to, get my own confidence in doing my own tax preparations, and so that's probably the class I remember most.
I've been there for all of the presidents, obviously, and I've liked all of them. I really think that Doug Treadway is probably the most real thing when it comes down to presidents. He is a born college president.
I actually knew Dr. Epler, the first president of the college, and then it was, I believe it was Dr. Richter who was the next one, then Dr. Peter Blomerly, Dr. Floyd Hogue, and now Dr. Treadway.
For the most part, our programs are very similar in California community colleges. We're comprehensive. We offer all of the transfer courses to the universities. We have a specialized program in biotechnology, and there's just a handful of community colleges right now that offer that specialization. And here in the Bay Area, we're the only community college with a nationally accredited registered nursing curriculum.
The foundation has now become a very vital part of Ohlone College, and we support the different academic programs. We're also in the capital campaign for the College of the Future. We also have Alumni Association that we've started up, and we have planned giving, for people who might want to think about donating in the future. And so there's many pieces that are now in place for people to get involved, but also for our foundation board members to be very actively involved.
Ohlone is a very special place.
First and foremost, the people here are great. Faculty, staff, the students, and it's a unique environment for a community college because although it's a commute type college, when you come here you feel like you're in a place where people really care about each other, and it's just a positive place. About 5 years ago, Ohlone College looked into the possibility of a bond in order to expand the campus and build a center in Newark. And at the time, I was on the foundation. Gloria Furness was a big part of the foundation, obviously, and she was chairing a community involvement group. And somehow I got recruited onto her committee to take a look at this bond and see whether or not there was enough support in the community to put that bond onto the ballot.
At the time we did the bond campaign, it really had a lot to do with making sure we had a campus in Newark, because there was a lot more students that would benefit. Because, you know, the college serves Fremont, Newark, and a portion of Union City. And everything is being on the south side, and people on the north side of Fremont or in Newark. It's not as easy to access the college, and now there's going to be greater access.
It's been challenging and rewarding at the same time. I came onto the board at a time where we were in transition with outgoing president, recruiting a new president, figuring out what architects to select, the plans for the Newark Center that is presently being built. And so that was a lot of work up front. And if you drive around Newark today and take a look at the progress of that facility, it's amazing. And so that's where the reward comes into play, where maybe 3 or 4 years ago, a lot of late night meetings, a lot of planning, a lot of struggling over what is the right thing to do for this organization. And today, you see the fruits of all that effort.
The Newark campus will be the first full campus in the United States for a community college that is built to national standards of environmental sustainability, so-called green architecture.
What we are really talking about is sustainability, whereby you don't have to replace carpets every 5 or 10 years, where if you pick the right type of material for flooring, you may not need to replace it for 20 or 30 years. So you're saving money in the long run by building the facility with sustainable materials.
We've installed solar collectors to generate our own power. We're tapping into the temperature of the constant temperature below the ground to provide our own heating and cooling versus conventional systems. We're there by the San Francisco Bay, and all the landscaping is native plants and drought-tolerant plants. And many features natural storm drain with reeds rather than storm pipes. So it's mimicking as much as we can the natural environment's way of handling waste and also producing energy. And it is a national model that's getting some note around the country.
Solid academics is the core that has built Ohlone's reputation of excellence. From the very start, every department on campus has sought to inspire Ohlone students to pursue the highest levels of achievement. The Ohlone Community College District offers a varied curriculum to all who can benefit from our instruction, in an environment where students are constructively assessed, valued, and supported. Ohlone, a world of cultures united in learning.